All right, lead heads. We are back with another episode, a Corona-free episode, again, of the Talking Lead podcast. I'm your host, Letty, and we're going to have a good show today. We're going to be talking about things that you can do while you're at home to help improve your firearm skills, also known as dry firing. Some tips and tricks from a professional that we've brought on board, and maybe some other ancillary things that will help you out during these quarantine times. So joining me, we've got our good buddy, longtime lead head, and sponsor of the Talking Lead AK Corner, which we just dropped. We've got our good buddy Adam Ruonala joining us with Century Arms. Adam, welcome in.
What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you being on. Sorry you missed the AK Corner. We had a good one.
Yeah, I didn't know how well I'd have done through a mask anyways, you know, so I'm glad you guys were able to social distance and get through it without me.
So tell me you're not wearing a mask. Are you wearing a mask out in public?
I'm not right now in the office. I'm not. But, you know, I actually just had to go pick up some guns from a local gun store and walked in. Yeah. And, you know, they said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And everybody turned and just stared at me.
What the hell were you thinking?
Are you serious?
And I didn't realize in the town that we're in, if you're going into a public place, it's mandatory to wear a mask. So I had to go out and I actually grabbed a Century Arms T-shirt and wrapped it around my face. So then I was walking back through with an extra large T-shirt wrapped around my face like an idiot. And
was it the Pew Pew
so really
CANIK
like
T-shirt?
No, it was a Century. No, it was a CANIK. It was a Pew Pew one. And so it's the one Nils is actually wearing right now. Yeah. Not only was I basically practicing proper quarantine tips, but I also feel like I was advertising. So I don't know if I put in for overtime on this or how exactly I go.
Well, it might be a tax write-off. Yeah, it could be a tax write-off. You might get an extra stimulus check.
You know, I'm waiting on my stipend check. Yeah, everybody got it. I haven't gotten it, so I don't know. Do I call Trump directly? How does this work?
Well, if you want it, I think they just directly send it. I know that a couple of members of my family have gotten theirs, but I'm not filing for it. I don't want it. I'm not getting it. I'm not taking it. They can keep their damn money.
But you don't have to file. I think it's just if you did your taxes. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, it's that direct deposit thing. But you can tell your bank to to refuse it.
I think it's interesting. I saw a great meme today. It was like, so everybody wants to know, I'm asking all my friends, what caliber are you getting your stimulus check in?
I saw that post. That was a good post. I like that. That was very good.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get a chance, Leadheads, go back to last episode where we did a live show, and it was a good one. And we talked a little bit about this coronavirus pandemic. I put my finger quotes up. But it was a good show, so make sure you go back, check that out. Kel-Tec Weapons, go check them out. Sponsors of the Talking Lead podcast. Want to make sure we give them a good plug on this. I've been trying to get them on for a while, and then things happened, and then this happened, and that put us even further behind with getting those guys on, which also delayed our giveaway, which you guys have been anxiously waiting for. And we're still going to do that. We've got a CP33 from Kel-Tec that we're giving away that's been custom done up by our good buddy Dave over at Mission First Tactical, Adam. He's putting a nice little something on there with that, making a custom holster for that. It's going to have some awesome graphics on the holster as well. Buck Knives has a knife that they're giving away. Fiocchi's got some ammo that's going to be in that. Defy Watches has one of their new Springfield watches that's going to be included with that. So it's kind of the ultimate EDC giveaway package. But we're still going to do that. So once everybody gets back in the swing and normal operations, we'll get that going, and might even have a few more things to add to it once we get to it.
Keith likes everything about the great outdoors. He's a lot like us. Whether we're bow hunting in the backcountry or plinking in the backyard, we want to enjoy each experience to the fullest. Kel-Tec's .22 caliber P17 is Heath's go-to pistol for a good time, on the range, on the trail, and anywhere in between. Weighing in at only 14 ounces with a full magazine, its compact size makes it easy to conceal or tuck away in a small pack, pocket, or space. It comes out of the box ready with a fiber optic front sight, a threaded barrel, a Picatinny rail, and a price point for any budget. With 3 16-round magazines, it's ready for hours of pure unadulterated enjoyment. It's easy, it's affordable, it's accurate, and it's a damn sweet marvel of plinking innovation. The Kel-Tec P17. It's more bang for less buck.
So, Adam, you brought a guest with you today to help us with our main topic, which is going to be dry firing at home. So, introduce our guest.
Yeah, so, you and I were talking the other day, and we're talking about one of the neat things that this quarantine does give us the opportunity to do is to become more proficient with our firearms, whether it's for a competitive setting or you just want to be on a day-to-day more proficient. And we took the same mindset as of late with CANIK, and we're doing these quick tips in quarantine on our social media platform. And so we said, hey, we got Nils Jonasson, our team captain, our all-shooting extraordinaire, many times over champion across the country, across the world, and we're already doing these. So I said I couldn't think of anybody better as a liaison for CANIK, for Century, for obviously the lead heads out there. I gave him a call, and for some strange reason, he happened to have a little free time right now.
He had some free time, a little downtime.
Was a little shocked, I said, hey, aren't you out there doing things? He said, other than really sitting on his couch and, organizing his filing cabinet and his canned goods, he had some time. So without any further ado, Nils.
Nils, welcome in.
Adam. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. This is an interesting time we're living through right now.
It is. I don't think there's ever been a time like this in history, and definitely not modern time history, especially going through what we're going through with the technology that we have. So, yeah, we're pioneers, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. But like Adam was saying, it's been a cool thing we've been able to do as far as the CANIK's quick tips in quarantine, to bring a little bit of information to our social media platform and teach people a little bit about what they can learn at home and just in shooting and firearms in general. So it gives us that opportunity. So that's a good thing.
So that's cool. The quick tips quarantine. So how long have you guys been doing that? I didn't know you were doing that, Adam. You didn't tell me.
We've been doing it for when did we start it? Sometime early last week and a half ago, Adam.
Right? So we introed it about a week and a half ago. We're releasing episode 5 tomorrow. They're about 60 seconds long. They're everything from gun safety to things we're going to talk about today, like myths and actualities of dry firing, how to practice mag reloads, all kinds of different things. And they're kind of just they're customer and viewer oriented. So we had some planned, and then as we've had comments and requests, we're really just expanding it, and we're going to try to keep these going as long as we can.
Very cool.
And as long as people are interested.
Yeah, and we're posting these on the Century Arms Instagram page as well as the CANIK USA Instagram.
Very cool. You guys have YouTube also? You posted on YouTube?
So we will post them on YouTube as a kind of a culmination.
Sure.
But right now, if you're looking for them, it's all driven by our social media platforms.
That's awesome. Well, Nils, we're glad to have you on. Like I said, real quick, I don't think Adam probably did you justice on your background. Give a little bit more detailed background about yourself.
Well, in the shooting world, I've been around for about 18 and a half years. I started shooting in 2002, and I shoot a wide range of competition styles. So I'll shoot everything from USPSA and IPSC to IDPA and 3-gun, and I've shot some revolver I-Corps championship matches, and I shoot a whole bunch of different styles of shooting. And over the last 15 years, I've accrued about 17 to 18 national or world championship titles.
Man, that's very impressive.
He's good. He's good.
What's your background? What industry did you come from?
So I came from the shooting industry. I've as long as I've been around, I've been in the gun industry in one form or another, whether it's, working at a retail gun store or running an ammunition company, are the last two careers that I've had. And then last year, this opportunity with CANIK came about, and we've really been pushing full steam ahead, pushing the CANIK products and just kind of showing the world, that they're just as good or better than everything else for a better price point.
Very cool.
Superior, if you will.
Be superior, as the shirt says. I've got the shirt. I'll wear it. I like it.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I've got that pew pew one too that he's got there too. I like that.
Yeah, that was
these are fun.
That was a SHOT Show exclusive patch that we decided we were actually going to do at NRA annual meeting as well, and needless to say that wasn't in the cards, but those are actually selling on eBay for like $150 a patch.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh!
No,
I didn't know. I didn't know it was all the way up to 150.
Yeah, they got pretty crazy. So actually, if you want, Lefty, I'll send you like 10 or 15 of them, and you can give them out to some lead heads. They're pretty cool patches.
To hell with that! I'm going to sell them on eBay and pay for my quarantine.
All the snacks.
I'll give them out, definitely. Yeah, we got to reward the lead heads. Now, are we rewarding the lead heads at the end of the show today with something?
Yeah, I think we can figure out something. I think,
boy.
I'll go through it. I'll say I think what we can do is, obviously, Nils, I think he has an affinity to a certain one of the CANIKs. That is his gun that he uses in competition, and that's the TP9 SFX.
Oh, yeah.
It is a gun that we designed and created and released in the U.S. market with the idea of obviously helping that competitive shooter have what we believe is an edge. It is designed with that purpose. Obviously, a lot of people enjoy it as their carry gun, as a gun for home defense, but it really has a lot of the traits that I think level that then can be scaled up all the way to something like Nils that uses it, on the professional level as well. And I think that's a testament not only to Nils' skills, but to the gun itself. So I think it'd only be fitting if we said that the winner would win a TP9 SFX.
Holy cow. What? That's huge. We got to make them. We got to make them work for that, though. That's too big of a giveaway not to make them work for it.
Well, I tell you, you're the pro here.
Yeah.
At this, that'd be like Nils asking me for shooting tips. I think that's your job, so you got to figure this out.
I will definitely figure something out. But yeah, that was completely unexpected. So you caught me off guard with that. So very nice. I'm at a loss for words. I forgot where we were at, but you know what? What keeps me on track is I hear that jackwagon train coming. So you guys get ready for the Talking Lead jackwagon train. Gunny, bring that train in.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead jackwagon of the week, so brace yourself, baby.
All right, the train has stationed, and we've got several jackwagons to take care of this week. And I think we'll start with our guest. Adam was talking off air earlier, and he's got a couple of good ones that we definitely need to take care of. So, Adam, who you got?
So being that our corporate office is down here in South Florida, I figured we had to go with Florida Guy.
Florida man.
Everybody, Florida Guy does what he does. And there's two of them. So the first Florida man is something that literally boggles my mind more than anything I've seen. So, you've got people in North Carolina and Florida being arrested for protesting, their beliefs that small business should not be closed or that they don't have the right to still be out in public doing what they want to do. And wherever you stand on the line of that, that's okay. But the fact that they're still being arrested, and we just had a man released from prison that is being charged with murder because of the coronavirus scare is absolutely mind-boggling to me. And for that reason, he hands down has to be my first submittal for Jackwagon of the Week.
Now, is he the Jackwagon, or is the system the Jackwagon for letting him out?
Can we do a team effort here?
Yes.
And kind of combine all of them, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then the second one is literally breaking news as of 56 minutes ago.
Okay.
Florida man Robert, is all I'm going to say, of Sebring, was arrested Tuesday night and booked for making a written threat on Facebook of a mass shooting, which is a second-degree felony. And what he was threatening was he was going to mass shoot up the Publix because when he was in there earlier that day, enough people didn't have masks on. So he was going to teach them a lesson and teach the country a lesson by shooting up Publix.
Now, was he only going to target the unmasked people, or was he just going to shoot everybody? Was he that good a shot?
It's not a funny thing, but it kind of is. I mean, I don't even know, 62 years old.
Oh, he was 62.
62-year-old man.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Of course, I'm sure he's saying that he wasn't serious. He was just trying to make a point.
Well, I'll tell you what he is seriously now. He's seriously behind bars.
He's seriously a jackwagon. That's what he is.
He is, yeah. He is actually conducting the jackwagon train right now. But the good news is he's doing it with the mask on. So, yeah.
Well, sure.
I'm going to jail!
So, what was it back to the mask thing when you going out in public? As like, I can't imagine you not having a Gucci'd up mask, Adam. Some sort of, stylish, just out there kind of mask. Are you working on that now?
So Ken, our creative director here, he's got a camouflage one. Okay. And needless to say, he looks very, very, very tactical in his.
Yeah.
William, our VP, he has like the big filtered mask, and it's very legit looking. My neighbor just brought me one because she said I needed a mask, and being that it's South Florida, she brought me a Lily Pulitzer mask.
Okay.
So it's flowers and roses, and I think there's even like a little cruise ship on it. So
that's you. That is you to a T. Yes.
Yeah, super festive, and
you got to wear your Easter.
Like
you got to wear your Easter outfit with that.
Yeah, like a 6'10" ogre walking around South Florida with the Lily Pulitzer mask on. I would not get shot in the Publix, allegedly, if I was wearing said mask.
He would
get shot.
He would shoot you just because you'd scare the shit out of him for how big you are.
And you know what the good news is? Because of this great country and our Second Amendment and my rights, I'd have been able to shoot back.
That's right, because you carry it. I bet you carry a CANIK too, don't you?
I do. I carry the TP9 Elite SC, our subcompact that came out late last year. Nils can talk about that a little bit, but we're actually in the process of releasing a new video. It literally has pretty much all of the amazing features
that
the
no
SFX
idea
does,
what
just
kind of
in
gun you're talking about. Adam, I have no idea what kind of gun
as
you're talking
Nils
about.
is holding it in front of the camera. So, Adam, why would you go subcompact? Because your hands are like you just said, you're an ogre. That's like putting a baseball in your hand.
Well, it's interesting to say that. So, ironically, even though I do have large hands, the grip is a pretty good size. And then what we have is we have a 15-round magazine, which actually has a grip extension that comes standard with that gun. So it comes with a 12 and 15 rounder. So the 12 has the pinky rest, but then the 15 has a full grip extension, which, to be honest, with that grip extension and those extra rounds, is a lot sturdier of a grip for me than a lot of full-size guns. And the stippling on it's great. I feel comfortable with it. And then obviously when you have a subcompact gun, it gives you that whole, you don't have to worry about it printing as much. And sometimes they're just more comfortable to carry. So, yeah. And it goes great with my Lily Pulitzer mask.
It will now, won't it?
Yeah.
Get that over to David. He can probably put that design on that for you.
Yeah, get a holster done.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's go on to our next jackwagon. Those are very good jackwagons there, Adam. I'm going to be throwing, and she's been on here before, is Alyssa Milano. Of course, she, Twitter is her big thing, and she went to Twitter. Alyssa posted, Americans bought over 2 million firearms in March of 2020, over 1 million more than this time last year. We have to keep each other safe by social distancing and washing our hands and not bringing dangerous firearms into our homes. Stop the coronavirus gun surge. Hashtag no NRA. So that's her answer to this whole thing, is don't bring the dangerous guns into the home. And then James Woods responded, "Thank you for the reminder. When the looting starts, always be prepared, buy more ammo." So right on to James Woods. I think you guys can see where I'm going with James Woods. He's going to be on another segment after we get done with this one. So Alyssa Milano, welcome to the Talking Lead Jackwagon train. What about you, Nils? You got somebody?
Yeah, my jackwagon is kind of going to be a segue off of Adam's with relation to the face masks. But it's going to be more related to California and some of their laws and regulations that they've implemented that they're requiring their citizens to adhere to.
Okay.
I was talking with some friends of mine out there, and I don't know if you know this or not, but they're required, if they're outside of their home, to wear a face mask 100% of the time. So let me give you a hypothetical. Say you're driving down the freeway in your car. You are legally required to be wearing a face mask. And to top it off, where do you even buy a face mask right now? You can't go to Amazon or Home Depot or Walmart to buy one. So it's kind of a law requiring you to do something that you can't physically do unless you jury rig a T-shirt around your face.
A CANIK T-shirt?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know what their requirements, what constitutes a mask, but okay, whatever. And it just goes to show you California's. I mean, you just can't fathom the things that they bring into law and they want to ban and they want to implement. It's just mind-boggling.
They're one of those states that feels like everything can be solved by government intervention, and that's just not the case. No,
it's not. And they think it's just a quick patch to things too. It's like, let's just put this patch on it and it's going to make things go away. So that brings me to my jackwagon as you talk about California and all these new laws and everything that they're implementing, and especially gun laws. So here's an article. It's the Los Angeles Times. It says California lags in reducing number of felons with firearms as gun sales pick up amid coronavirus. So even in California, the gun sales are soaring, which I don't see how because of the regulations that they have. Doesn't the sheriff have to okay gun permits there in California, I think?
So I'm not sure if the sheriff has to okay anything. For a concealed carry permit, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I believe it's they just transitioned to a shall issue, but they're dragging their feet in certain counties as far as issuing CCWs.
Yeah.
But I do know that California is one of the states that implements a waiting period. So you're in Tennessee, I'm in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
We can go to the gun store and we can buy a gun, fill out a 4473, and have a pistol or rifle in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
In California, they have a certain number of days, as far as they call it a cool down period, that you're required to wait before you're able to take possession of your firearm.
Because if you're mad and you're going in to buy a gun, they don't want you to go out and immediately kill somebody. They think that that's going to cool you down. So basically what this article is saying is that based on these increased gun sales, their felon rate has increased, but the guns that they're trying to get out of the hands of the felons has decreased. But what they don't tell you, again, are all these new laws that they implement that make people felons. So, the laws that they're making to make people felons are happening faster than they can implement and enforce the laws that they've already got. So that's the reason for that. That's the reason why their felon rate is growing with people who have the firearms, because they're implementing all these new laws that make regular, normal firearm owner in any other state, like you and I, Nils, we would be felons in California right now.
No, I know I'd be a felon in California. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I'm a felon many times over in California. So it's a good thing we're not there. So I think that's all the jackwagons I've got. Do you guys have any more?
No, I think we've got some strong candidates for today.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. So if you guys want to submit, you leadheads want to submit your jackwagon, send it to talkinglead@gmail.com. Put jackwagon in the subject, and then we'll read your jackwagons online. I know there's probably several of you guys who have sent some in, but I've probably missed your emails. But I'll go back through those in next episode. I'll pick you up. because there's no deadline on Jackwagons. They don't ever expire. You can go back 20 years and pick out a Jackwagon if you want to. I think we had somebody throw Hitler on there not too long ago. So now let's counter that. Let's talk about our Lead Head Brigade Heroes. Who's going to get a ride on Lead Force 1? And as I alluded to earlier, James Woods is going to get one for his response to Alyssa Milano there. So James Woods gets a ride on Lead Force 1 this week. You guys have any heroes?
I'll tell you, it's kind of a generic one, but I think it needs to be said. We've talked about the grocery store workers. We've talked about the police officers, the medical, and they're doing such an amazing job
Absolutely.
of making sure that the truck drivers, that are constantly keeping things going. I mean, heck, they're making bukus of money, but the Amazon delivery guy, I would be in a world of hurt if it wasn't for them. But I would say, I just went through and just stopped by Wex Gunworks here in Delray Beach in Florida and picked up an AK that I'd ordered, and those guys are still working hard too. And they just got ruled essential, as they should. And so all the guys and women out there that are still working and running these firearms stores and the firearms manufacturers, our hardworking team in Vermont that's still up there every day, receiving in our imports, building AKs, making ammo all across the country, whether it's our competitor or any of these guys and women are still out there every day, supporting our Second Amendment rights and ensuring that when we go to sleep at night, especially in these uncertain times, we have what we need to protect ourselves and our family. And I think that's something that really needs to be commended, because while it is a business, it's an essential part of our country and our rights and our safety. And I think it's a huge thing that has kind of gone, there's so much flack that's been given by people, like you said, Alyssa Milano, that are hating on us and hating on the industry and hating on people that are exercising this right. But there's so many people that appreciate it. So I think there's, true kudos that need to be given to them.
Absolutely. And, I feel sorry for those states like New York and in those areas that those gun stores have been deemed non-essential and shut down and forced to shut down, where people can't go and buy the essential self-defense tools that they need. So, good one. Very good. What about you, Nils?
Yeah, my Lead Force 1 would actually be a gentleman that I've kind of grown up with in the shooting community. And that would be a shooting hero, legendary competitive shooter, Rob Latham. And I add him to this list specifically for something he did for me last year. We were in Florida, and I was fortunate enough to win a USPSA national championship. But I had to fly out before the match concluded to shoot another competition. And Robbie went up and accepted the award on my behalf and gave a really touching kind of background history story of myself, and did that and accepted the award on my behalf in front of 300 plus people. So
very cool.
For me, I would add Robbie to Lead Force 1 for that. So thank you, Bob.
Absolutely. Rob Latham's always welcome on the Talking Lead Force 1. So good job. All right, so this one is listener submitted, and it comes from our good buddy Mark Peck, and he nominates a teenager here. And I'll read you the story here. This is La Cruces, Cruces, New Mexico. A 16-year-old wrestling champion helped stop a kidnapping and assault near La Cruces, New Mexico, by pinning a man to the ground until deputies arrived, authorities said. So Mayfield High School student Cannon Bauer was being lauded as a hero after controlling suspect Daniel. That's all I'm going to say his name is. He's a jackwagon. He was 22. And basically what happened was this Daniel guy, the suspect, was trying to steal this lady's kids off of a bus as they were getting off a bus. And he took one of them and was threatening to hurt that kid, and if she didn't give him the other kids, she was able somehow to get the kids away and rush into a nearby grocery store. And this hero teenager, Cannon, had heard the commotion, drove his truck over, and then confronted Daniel, the suspect trying to kidnap the kids, body slammed him, and put him in a chokehold until the authorities arrived. This Daniel guy looks like he's about 115 pounds, 20 pounds soaking wet maybe. And the wrestling champion guy is 285 pounds.
Oh yeah, the video is hilarious to watch him. I mean, it's funny. He starts on a side mount, and it looks like he's about to transition. He's like, "No, I got him. I can just stay like this." And the guy just gives up. It was great to watch.
Oh, so there's a video. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no. So it starts outside in the parking lot of what looks like a convenience store, and the guy like drags the kids inside. And people are panicking, running around. There's an older gentleman involved. Uh-huh. And then you see this kid, this monster of a kid, come walking up. He like peeks in the door, nods, walks inside, and proceeds to physically explain to this gentleman why he should not be doing what he was doing. Uh-huh. And then directs him to the floor in a rather abrupt manner, and then just lays on him.
Just sits on him. That's funny.
I mean, it would basically look like me pinning you. I mean, it's a pretty interesting thing to watch happen. It was good.
I wish you would have put him in a sleeper hold. That would have been great.
For anybody that doesn't know, Adam is like 6 feet 7 inches tall. He's a freaking giant. So. Yeah,
but he's down. He's slim and trim right now. So you're a svelte. What?
8 pounds. 8 pounds in this quarantine thing. I've eaten all the snacks.
But you're still skinny. I mean, you lost so much, so 8 pounds ain't nothing. I mean, you can afford 8 pounds.
Well, thanks.
Skinny. We call him Skinny Richard now. So that's our Talking Lead Head Brigade Heroes getting a ride on Air Force One. Definitely Cannon Bauer. If any of you lead heads know this kid or can get in touch with him, get me his contact info or have him contact me. I'm going to send him a nice little swag package from Talking Lead. All right, so good Jackwagon and Lead Force One there, guys. Let's get into our main topic. This is what everybody's waiting to hear. They want to know how they can get more proficient while they're sitting on their asses in this quarantine time here. What can they do to better their skills as a firearm owner, as a competition shooter, or just your everyday shooter, Nils? Let's get into what's the benefits of dry firing, because a lot of people think well, I'm not supposed to dry fire my gun. That's going to damage it.
Yeah, some people, have definitely been told, and I've heard it over and over at gun stores and that kind of thing, that dry firing your pistol is going to somehow screw up the mechanism or damage your gun in some way. And the only time that's actually true is if you're shooting like a 22 long rifle, which is a rimfire cartridge. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is when the striker or the firing pin goes down or is struck, it impacts the chamber of the barrel. So in that instance, dry fire is bad. But if you have a 380 or a 9mm or a 40 cal, 45, any standard center fire cartridge, dry fire is not going to damage your gun in pretty much any way.
Right. So don't be afraid to dry fire that gun, unless it's one of the ones that Nils just said. So let's talk about some of the before you get started dry firing, some of the the safety rules that you want to adhere to. Whether you're at home practicing or around the range, all the standard firearm rules apply, right?
Absolutely, and in my opinion, I think they're even more important because at the end of the day, we're playing with a gun in our own homes. So there are 4 general firearm safety rules. And in order to dry fire, we have to dismiss number 4, which is don't fire the gun unless you're ready to shoot. Put your finger in the trigger. We have to disregard that rule. So we need to use the other 3 rules to make up for that. So we need to make sure the gun's pointed in a safe direction. So if for some reason it were to go off, it would go somewhere where it's not going to damage something or hurt somebody. We always want to assume the gun's loaded, even though we've double, triple, quadruple checked to make sure it's not. We want to assume it is. So if something were to happen, no one gets injured. Mm-hmm. And we always want to make sure, what's behind what we're dry firing at as well. Like, so we have a thin wall. If a round actually went through that wall, what's behind it and what's behind the next wall? So yeah, safety is very, very important for dry fire, and I think even more important than when we're at the range on a live fire situation, because it's not a controlled environment.
Yeah, and another thing that you can do when doing this is, again, double, triple check, make sure the firearm is empty, make sure your magazines that you're going to be using are empty, and then just remove all ammo from the area. That way there's no likelihood that you could get some ammo in there, or somebody could walk in the room and while you go pee or whatever. But even if you leave the room, leave your firearm unattended, when you come back, you want to recheck it, as always. Always assume it's loaded. So. Yep,
absolutely. And I know several people that dry fire with dummy cartridges to simulate the weight of a regular gun as if you were shooting it for real. Mm-hmm. But you need to be super careful doing that and never, ever substitute live ammo for that. So if you have the ability to reload your own, safety or snap caps, essentially, that have the same weight as a regular projectile, that's fine. Don't substitute live ammo for that situation.
Yeah, and you might, if you've got neighbors that are a concern, you might want to let them know that you are training at home, if they can see through your windows or whatever, so they don't call the police on you.
Well, I would, for me personally, I would close the blinds and not draw too much attention to myself. Sure. I live in an apartment complex.
Yeah.
So I'm very conscious as far as, where a projectile would go if all of the safety rules failed and, the only one I had to fall back on was the gun in the safe direction.
Absolutely.
But I also don't want to draw attention to myself because, I'm running around with a gun inside.
That definitely could lend to some unwanted attention. But now that we've adhered to the safety, let's talk about the benefits of dry firing. So what are we gaining? Okay, go ahead.
So before I jump into the benefits of dry fire, let's talk for a second about what you can't do with dry fire. And very simply put, you can't practice controlling the recoil of the gun at home in dry fire. And that's the main thing that you can't do at home. Everything else, from drawing the gun, practicing reloads, training your transitions and gaining time there, movement, all of that stuff can be done at home if you got even a little bit of space. But controlling the recoil, actually feeling the recoil impulse, that's just not something we're going to be able to benefit from.
Let me ask you this. If you're using those, because there are companies that make rounds that will simulate the action and recoil with no projectile, is that considered dry firing?
Yeah, it's definitely considered dry firing. The benefit of that style device is that it's resetting the trigger, so you have a similar trigger every single time, and you're actually able to maybe throw a laser on a target and have a system. Like I have an iDry fire system that does something like that, where it registers on a computer where your impacts were. But the CO2 or the pneumatic system doesn't simulate the actual recoil of the gun. The benefit there is that it's resetting the trigger so you can dry fire multiple times.
Are you familiar with Ultimate Training Munitions?
I'm not.
Okay, so they do make a round that simulates the recoil, but we can talk about that later. But anyway, so
yeah, I've never felt anything that simulates the recoil as if, say a 9mm or a 40 caliber would on the range.
Yeah.
I've had several pneumatic systems like a CO2 or a compressed air that will move the slide, and you get the benefit of the sight bouncing around a little bit, but there's no recoil for your body to subconsciously control.
These actually have recoil.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I'll have to check those out. That sounds neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've had the opportunity to try them out at SHOT Show a couple of times. So, but anyway, for the most part, yes, you're not going to be able to simulate the recoil. So what can you do? What are the benefits of the dry fire? What are we going to be able to gain?
Well, the best thing about dry fire is it's free and you can do it at home whenever you want.
Bingo.
And you can practice. And for I would say that dry fire is actually better for certain things than going out to the range and shooting rounds. For draws and reloads especially, because obviously it's free, so you're not wasting all those extra resources. But you can focus on just the mechanical aspects of the draw and being more efficient rather than the active firing the gun. Mm-hmm. So dry fire is better for something like draw practice and reload practice because you're not distracted by these other things.
Right. Very good. So you're going to be able to improve your grip, your stance, your trigger control, your sight picture, your sight alignment. And to go along with that, there's certain drills that you can do to help each one of those. Now you've been, like you said, you guys have been doing a series, the quarantine, was it? Quarantine?
CANIK Quick Tips in Quarantine.
There you go. CANIK Quick Tips in Quarantine. So what have you guys been teaching through that?
So the first few episodes, we're covering some very basic, just safety stuff initially. And then I'm jumping into certain aspects you can practice at home that will give you the most benefit in like a range or a match style setting. So we're focusing on the stuff they can do that gives them the most time benefit, specifically like transitions and things where you spend more time doing that action than other things. Like, for example, you spend more time moving the gun from one target to another than you do reloading the gun on a stage for like what I do.
Gotcha. So if we're at home and, obviously if you've never shot a gun, if you're a first-time firearm owner, you need to take a class. I mean, you really need to get some professional training. Because you're not really going to know how to draw and how to grip and how to reload and, all that other than watching John Wick. And although he does it well, I don't think you're going to be able to really learn the mechanics and the theories behind it. So, I caveat it with that as well. I mean, there are some YouTube videos and things out there that you might be able to try to emulate and whatnot, but how do you know you're doing them right unless you've got a professional telling you you're right or you're wrong? So just throwing that caveat out there. But for draw, what kind of drills do you have for the draw to help improve draw?
Yeah, draws specifically is one of those things that you can learn a lot more in dry fire than on the range. And for a draw drill, I think it's beneficial to break the draw into different segments. So you have several movements that incorporated together make up the draw. And that's, for example, going between rested, either a surrender or a hands at side position, from that position to grasping the gun in your holster. And then your next position or your next movement would be from the holster position to coupling your left hand or your support hand with that strong hand, and then the extension out, and then settling your sights on the target and firing the shot. So for a dry fire drill, it can be good to compartmentalize those different movement aspects. So the whole point in dry fire and the whole point in all of this is to become more efficient. You want to eliminate any excess movement. So if you're moving your shoulder and your whole body's contorting to get your hand on the grip of the gun, that's a lot of wasted time that you can eliminate. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of thing you want to focus on when you're doing a drill like that, is eliminating excess motion.
Mm-hmm. And you can do that by videoing yourself. So you can self-analyze yourself, and put your cell phone down and video yourself, and then review your tapes, and then you can improve and work on your flaws from that. You do it in a mirror, around a mirror, or having someone there with you. if you've got a partner there that's with you, that they can visually say, hey, you did that wrong.
Yeah, I think having someone there correcting you as it's happening is probably the best solution, but it's a hard one for a lot of people because that's not really realistic most of the time. Mm-hmm. Unless right now, where everyone's stuck at home, maybe you've got a partner or something like that can say, hey, why are you doing this way? But for me personally, through the years, I've found video very, very beneficial because you can see all those places where you lose time and you're inefficient, and you can go back and you can correct them later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I may interject,
yes,
if I may,
please.
I think that sounds like, obviously Nils, as we talked about, is every day creating new content for our CANIK Quick Tips in Quarantine. This may be a great opportunity now that it's coming up. Maybe keep tuned on, CANIK's Instagram and Facebook, and there may be a video coming out in the next couple of days with said drill or something similar that people could actually have a visual representation of what to do. And we may even do some sort of contest, maybe where you could submit your drill in your initial time, and then maybe something where you can show improvement a couple of days later. And maybe, who knows, maybe you could win some CANIK swag off of it.
Very nice. Yeah, it's a great idea.
There you go. And in addition to that, we're also basing some of the content on our viewers' questions. So if you go to CANIK USA on Instagram and you watch one of the videos, leave a comment below if there's something that you want advice on or something you want us to incorporate into one of our quick tips in quarantine videos.
Very cool. And one thing to remember on your draw is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So don't start off trying to break records. Start off working on your mechanics. Do it slow. Do it smooth. And as you get more proficient with it, then you're going to become fast. Or faster. Maybe not as fast as Nils.
I think that's a really good way to explain it to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But if you break that down a little bit, like the draw, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, because you're doing it slow doesn't mean you're doing it efficiently. Mm-hmm. So I think slow is smooth, but slow can also just be slow. I think slow is slow, efficient is fast. So if you break down your movement and you are efficient and not doing anything more than you absolutely have to, then you're doing it fast.
Sure. But the ultimate goal is, as you get your mechanics down, you get your efficiency, you're going to become faster. Absolutely. And you do that by practicing. So that's anything else on the draw?
On the draw, I think that's pretty much it. Just compartmentalizing the different moves and making each of those movements as efficient as possible. And then, of course, incorporating them together for a complete draw stroke.
Right. And we're just talking overall, ladies. We're not talking competition. We're not talking self-defense. It's just overall. So you're going to be training the way that you train for. So, if you're side holster, if you're ankle holster, if you're appendix carry, whatever you may be, that's how you're going to practice your draw. Practice like you carry.
Absolutely. It's good for concealed carry, for competition shooting, and everything in between. So absolutely.
Oh. So let's move down. What would you say would be the next logical grip?
Yeah, grip is definitely something you can practice in dry fire, but you need to be careful with it because the tendency I've seen in dry fire is to rush everything, which kind of cheats your grip a little bit because you're not bringing that recoil. You're not having to control the pistol. I see a lot of people relax their grip to the point where if they were to fire a round, the gun would recoil completely differently than if they were shooting a gun in real life.
They'd limp wrist it.
You want to be well, not limp wrist it, but you hold the gun differently if you're not expecting the gun to fire than you would if a gun's going to explode in your hand. Mm-hmm. You want to be careful not to fall into that trap and remember to actually grip the gun as if the gun was firing. So by the end of a practice session in dry fire, your hands should be tired because you were gripping the gun so much.
Good point. Are there any actual drills or tips or tricks that you can give them to work on a grip?
So the grip does two things. One, you're controlling the gun in recoil, so after the gun fires, you can fire another shot as fast as possible. But the other thing that the grip serves is holding the gun still as you pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So,
have you heard of the coin on the front sight? You heard of that?
I have. Yeah, that's where you balance either a penny or a nickel or something like that on the front sight.
Mm-hmm.
And as you dry fire, the goal is to not let it fall off to one side or the other.
Right.
That could be a good drill for just gun control in general, but that's more of a trigger pull drill than a grip drill.
Okay. So let's talk about trigger pull.
Yeah. So the trigger pull and the motion of your trigger finger kind of goes in with your grip. Because that's the second thing your grip is doing, is keeping the gun still as you pull the trigger. It's difficult to pull the trigger in dry fire the same way you'd pull the trigger in live fire. I see a lot of people, when they're actually firing the gun, they slap the crap out of the trigger, right? There's very little control. There's very little fine motor skill, if you want to put it that way. But then in dry fire, they slow everything down and they pull everything super smooth and click, and the front sight's perfectly still. And that's great. You're doing the drill right. But if you're not pulling the trigger the same way you'd pull the trigger in live fire, it's not really a benefit. So if you're able to grip the gun as if you're holding the gun on target, you're preparing for the recoil of the gun, and you're preparing for any impulse your trigger finger might be doing to that trigger, throw the sight off to one side or the other, up or down, then you're doing the drill more efficiently.
So trigger control drills, malfunctions?
So I don't personally practice malfunction drills. I know how to clear pretty much every malfunction on Earth. Mm-hmm. So somebody who doesn't know that might be a good skill.
And that's who we're talking to here. We're talking just generalities and new learner trying to be more proficient. The non-expert.
Yeah. I don't know if I would practice those drills in dry fire, because that's... Why would you practice a drill why would you practice malfunction you're planning on occurring, right? Malfunction happens out of the blue, you didn't expect it, and you go through that process. So I think the best way to practice a malfunction drill would be on the range with, a round in the stack in your magazine that's not going to work correctly, and focus on that malfunction then, rather than planning on your gun to malfunction. But that's me. I want my guns to work.
What about reloading?
Reloading is, I think, one of the things that's better to do in dry fire from a skill building standpoint than just like the draw, because you can compartmentalize the movement. So you can break down the movement from firing your last shot and then getting your support hand to the next magazine, and then every movement in between. So you can break that movement down. You can break the movement from the mag pouch to just ready for insertion into the grip of the gun, and then insertion on target, regrip the pistol. And you can break those movements down to, again, eliminate any inefficiencies and be as efficient as possible.
And there are things that you can do to simulate the weight. Like you said, there are snap caps. There's some training ammo that you can buy, inert ammo that you can load your magazines with, so you can simulate the weight and have the proper weights and everything. So that's some things that you could look into. If you wanted to go all out, you could get some weighted snap caps like you're talking about, or if you have the ability to reload ammunition, you can reload ammunition without a primer and without powder, which will weigh virtually the same as a regular cartridge, but it's not going to work, so it's safe. Right. And there are other options out there too. I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit because we're going to talk about some special gear, but the SIRT pistol, are you familiar with the SIRT pistol?
Yes. Yeah, that's one of those, it's
next level
kind of
training.
block-based, but they make Yeah, so they make a couple of different pistol styles.
Glock and Smith & Wesson.
It's trigger that automatically resets, and each time you pull the trigger, it fires a laser out of the gun. And that is great for dry fire, but the thing you can't do with that is, again, simulate the recoil of the pistol. But if you have a system that recognizes the infrared laser or the red laser impact on a target, then it can give you some feedback in a computer program, and you can see where you would have actually hit. And
we had Mike Hughes on the show when that product first came out years and years and years ago. So we're one of the first to cover that. The SIRT pistol's been out a while. I don't know if they've improved it since then or not. I've not seen like a one in the last 3 or 4 years. But SIRT means shoot indicating resetting trigger, or shot indicating resetting trigger. That's what SIRT stands for. They've also got one for your AR, a little insert for your AR too, that you can do simulations with that on your AR. But there are other similar type products out there that you can get to. That's not the only one. Let's get back to some of the drills there. So another thing that you can practice one hand and offhand shooting. So again, that's getting into your grips and your sights, and I mean it's pretty much endless the things that you can do. But like you said, there's one thing you can't do, and you can't simulate the recoil, but you can practice, all these other disciplines.
Yeah, absolutely. One-handed shooting, whether it's strong hand shooting or offhand shooting, is absolutely something you can practice, along with transitions from a two-hand shooting position to a left-handed shooting position. So things you would see in a competition or a match environment, you can get those movements down to be more efficient and save you time in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing that's great to do in dry fire is movement drills, because again, we're not shooting any bullets, we're not wasting any money, and we can focus on smaller aspects and breaking down our movement and being more efficient. So if you've got a little bit of room in your house or your apartment, awesome. If you don't, you can go to a park and kind of omit the gun for some of the movement stuff. But that's a really good thing, because there's so much time either lost or gained in movement competition shooting.
Right. And then you can, like you said, the movement, sitting, kneeling, prone, etc. So, I mean, it's endless. Are there any videos or a place that you recommend that people could go to get some ideas for? And I know that you guys just started your series, so that's a great place. The CANIK Quarantine series that you guys are doing.
Go to the CANIK USA Instagram. But there are a lot of resources as far as literature that are good for dry fire specifically. The one book that I can think of that started everything would be a book from Brian Enos, and I think it's called Shooting Beyond the Fundamentals. Okay. And he goes into dry fire and mental aspects of shooting. So that's a good book if you want to get in depth. Steve Anderson also does some interesting dry fire books that have good drills that you can incorporate. And then if you want to go to Ben Stoger's Pro Shop, you can get little target cutouts and stuff like that on the wall and put those up all over your house.
Okay. Ben Stoger makes those?
Yeah, I think it's Ben Stoger Pro Shop. So you can get little target cutouts, poppers, USPSA, IPSC targets, that kind of thing. So you're not shooting at light switches. Gotcha.
Or the cat.
Yeah.
Very good. So, I mean, there are all kinds of drills. And if you lead heads have a particular dry firing drill that you're fond of, shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. Let me know what that is. We'll share that out to the Lead Head Brigade. Some other things. Does that cover all the drills that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I think that covers all the drills that I want to touch on. I think it's important to remember in dry fire, at the end of the day, it's super boring. So it's important to keep yourself entertained, change things up, incorporate different drills into one another, and just keep it fun. because dry fire is boring. I get it.
It is, and I recommend that before you even start, get a pad and pencil or get your smartphone, whatever you take notes on, and just have an outline of this is what I'm going to accomplish today in my dry firing session. And they don't have to be long. I mean, 15 minutes. You can do 15-minute dry fire sessions. You make them as long or as short as you want to. But doing them versus not doing them at all is you're gonna get a lot more benefit in doing them, even if it's just 5-10 minutes. Do some sort of dry fire drill. And
let's be honest, what else you got to do right now?
Listen to the Talking Lead podcast. That's what.
Well, I mean, how many times can you listen to the same episode, though? We're going to need you to do one every day now.
I've got 344 episodes. This is 344. We've been around for 7.5 years. They got 7.5 years of listening that they can do while they dry fire.
Nice.
So, definitely you guys take advantage of this time, not being able to go to the drill. I know a lot of you don't have a place where you can go shoot like some of us. But even then, I mean, even when I'm not there, I should be doing more dry fire drills than I do. So definitely take advantage of this time in dry fire drills. And if you have questions, if you're not sure about something, shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. And I'll get Nils or one of our other professionals that we've had on the show to answer your question, help you out. So some of the gear that I wanted to get into that can aid with your home training. One was the SIRT pistol. And you guys are probably very familiar with that, and we've done episodes on that. You can go back to some of our past episodes. There's another product called laser ammo and laser light. And I think these are things that insert into your chamber that emit a laser, and then you're doing basically laser training with those. So the pin or the hammer will hit the back of that product and then emit a laser every time you pull the trigger. And I'm oversimplifying these probably, but you guys can Google them and look them up. There are reactive laser targets that you can get that coincide with some of these products, so that you can get instant feedback on, your hits and performance. And then there are some apps. There are some products that implement phone apps, and I've got one, and I've talked about it, and I've had these guys on the show. It's called Target Eyes, and I don't even know if they're still in business or not. This has been a couple of years ago. But basically, it's a rail-mounted sensor. It's not even a laser. And I can just point this at a wall. I can point it anywhere, put it on my existing firearm, and turn the app on, and it syncs with the app. And then it will tell me about my trigger pull, my grip, give suggestions, all kinds of things. And there's different games and drills that you can run with these. And that's what's called Target, Targetize. And there's another one called Mantis X, which I haven't heard of it. It may be a newer one. I don't know. Are you familiar with anything like that, Nils?
I've seen some systems like that. I've got one from iDryFire that's very similar as far as like scenarios you can build on a projection screen, that type of thing. And they can definitely be beneficial for sure.
Yeah. And when I used this one, it's been a while. I tried to charge it before the show, but I think the batteries they're not working. I couldn't get it to work, but it seemed to be pretty accurate in telling me what I was doing wrong, because I would intentionally do things just to see if it would tell me that that's what I was doing wrong, and it was pretty spot on most of the time. But again, I mean, you're getting the money with this stuff. What Nils and I were talking about earlier is free. You just take your existing handgun and you run through these drills and do the dry firing. But if you've got the money and you want to get more elaborate with your training, then the UTM, they've got the Glock barrel conversion, Smith & Wesson. I think they've got several different styles that you can go, and they even got AR conversion kits there where they've got several different kinds of ammo. Last time I talked with Tony there, they've got the projectile. It'll do like little pellets that you can shoot at little targets in your garage or something like that. It gives you the recoil. It expends the ammo, puts another one in, rechambers, and it's weighted, for the right weight. And then they've got some that don't have they still make the noise and they still do the recoil. There's just no projectile. And then they also have some that will do the cycling and it makes no noise. So if you're worried about your neighbors or something like that, it doesn't make a noise, but you still get the cycling and recoil and whatnot. And then, of course, they've got the simunition also, which you're not going to be doing that at home. So,
I would hope not.
Yeah, and I don't think they sell that to civilians. That's just law enforcement, military, I do believe. But they have targets and things like that. There's another one. We had these guys on episode 335. Met them at SHOT Show. I did a video with them while we were there. Virtual Tactical Training Resources, VT2R. Jack Mills. And if you guys want to go back to episode 335, that is a laser system that they have. And again, it AR, Glock. I don't know if they had another version of that yet, but they're fairly new. And that was a really good one that you guys could use at home also. Not worry about non-toxic. Both of those are non-toxic, safe for the environment type thing, but they are expensive. I think just to get into the UTM, I mean, you're looking like $300 just to get a barrel or something like that. So, but some people have more money than they know what to do with, so why not? Is there anything that you've heard of that's out there that's floating around that might be beneficial?
I've heard of a bunch of those systems. What I primarily use is just my match gun with no ammo in it. Sometimes I'll put a laser cartridge in from iDryFire and use one of their systems. Mm-hmm. But most of the time it's the pistol and then me reading based on my visual inputs whether the shot was good or not. And doing it that way, it's totally free. Yeah,
very cool. All right. Is there anything else that we need to make sure that they are aware of or know when they're doing their dry fire drills?
For all the people that just bought their guns, if they don't have a shooting background and they just got into the gun world, I would definitely recommend that they take some time, do a bunch of research, before they start doing this kind of thing, because if you make a mistake in your house, it can be a very costly mistake. So definitely do your research and be safe out there.
I think the best thing that they could do is learn their firearm, learn the parts, take it apart, put it back together, watch those videos, gun safety videos that are out there. Watch those, get proficient with the gun safety. And the first chance you get, sign up for a professional defensive handgun training course.
Absolutely, especially if you're brand new to the shooting community.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking to.
And at local gun clubs, if you go out there and say, hey, I'm new, I don't know what I'm doing, when all this is over as far as the coronavirus, there are people in the gun world that are more than happy to go out of their way to make sure that you have fun and that you're safe. Oh,
absolutely. All right, so I think what everybody's waiting around for, they're like, yeah, whatever, shut up, give that gun away. We're not going to give it away this episode because I want you guys to work for it. So the CANIK TP9 SFX pistol, that's the preferred pistol of Nils, and it's a badass pistol. Talk about the features of that real quick.
Yeah, so this same gun I've been using for just over a year, and it's a lot of fun going to a match where people in your division are shooting $3,000-$4,000 space guns, and you show up with this guy that you can, buy at your local gun store for $450-$500, and you kick their ass. So it's a lot of fun demoralizing people, and just kind of showing people that you don't need to spend a ton of money and have thousands of dollars to be competitive. But the gun we're talking about, it's a 5.2 inch 9mm pistol. It has a optic sight on the back of the slide, so you can take off your rear sight and put a optic sight on, and it's got optics plates for dozens of micro red dot sights, everything from like a Leupold Delta Point Pro to a Trijicon RMR or SRO, to a Vortex Viper or Razor, the Hollow Suns. If an optic's made, 99% of them will fit on this gun. So that's a cool feature. Every gun comes with a fiber optic front sight, interchangeable back strap. So if you have large hands, you can put a larger back strap on the grip. If you have a smaller hand, you can put a smaller back strap on. The magazine release button has multiple sizes, so the same thing. If you got big hands, you can put the small one on. If you got small hands, you can put an extended mag release on. And the really cool thing about this gun is the factory trigger blows the socks off out of any other trigger on the market.
And he is not exaggerating.
Unless you're talking about a production style gun that's literally costs $3,000 or more. I can't think of a single one that has a factory trigger as good as this one when it comes to the break of the trigger. And that's not an exaggeration, and that's not because they pay me to say it, but that's a fact.
Yeah. I know firsthand. I was very impressed. That's one of the first things that caught my attention was the trigger on it, and then they hit you with the price point, and you're like, what? This is unreal. So yes, we're going to be giving away the CANIK TP9 SFX pistol. Okay, so here's what you lead heads are going to have to do to win this CANIK TP9 SFX. And Nils just told you all about it. So if you want one of those, and I don't think any of you don't want that, and of course you got to be eligible. If you're not eligible, it's not legal in your state, or you're a felon, you can't win it. So I mean, that's it. We're not just going to send it out to you. You still have to do the background checks and all that. So we'll know if you can't have it. So as we mentioned several times, Nils is doing a series of videos for CANIK right now on their social medias, on their Instagram page and Facebook. It's the Quick Tips in Quarantine. And as of this recording, there's 4. By the time you hear it, there'll probably be a couple more in there. So what you got to do is you got to tell me the topic for each episode that they do, and then there's going to be a hidden item, or maybe two hidden items in one of the videos. So you're going to have to, and you're going to know it when you see it. Should we tell them what it is?
You got to give them a little more of a hint than that. Come on, pick 2 things that are the hardest things to find right now in a grocery store. Combine them and make that the hidden item. And then Nils has to figure out how to make that happen.
Okay. So I've been having a tough time finding.
Okay, yeah. It's tough. Yeah. And then, the only other thing I would say would be right?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. All right. So okay. So in one of the videos, and you got to say which video it is. You have to identify the 2 hidden objects. They're going to be in one. They might be combined. They might be in different places. But once you see those 2 items together, tell us which video that is and where it is located in the background there.
Or Nils could hypothetically just show it for a second.
He might. He could. However he wants to present it. But that's what you do to get qualified. Okay? So you're going to have to like it. You have to like all the videos. You're going to have to subscribe to CANIK USA. You need to subscribe to Nils' Instagram. What's your Instagram, Nils?
It is No Skills Nils.
Okay. Spell that.
It's NOSKILLS NILS.
There you go. Subscribe to his, and of course, if you're not subscribed to me yet, then just turn me off right now and don't ever listen again. but you got to be subscribed to Talking Lead also. You have to reshare those videos, okay, and tag CANIK, tag Talking Lead, and tag Century Arms, and tag Nils in all those videos. And then you're going to email me your answers to those videos, and of course that special video that Nils is going to do with the special 2 hidden items. So talkinglead@gmail.com, you email me your answers. In the subject, put Talking Lead CANIK giveaway answers. I'm making you work for this, guys. It's a freaking pistol. I mean, this is one of the top-of-the-line CANIK pistols that they have out there. You're really going to love it. So we're not just going to make it like a video and you get entered kind of thing. You got to work for this. We're going to announce the winner. I said next episode. I think we'll give you 2 episodes because some of you guys are a little bit behind. So not three. This is 344, so not 345, but in 346. We're going to announce the winner, and we'll get Nils. Will you come back on and announce the winner with us? You and Adam both.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we can make that happen.
Okay, very good. So you guys will have a couple of weeks to get this done. Have fun with it. If you've got tips and tricks, send them to CANIK there. I think you can comment on their site, leave them a personal message if you got some drills, or send me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. But, this is going to be a fun thing. We're going to have fun with this. And you're going to learn something, too. So I'm going to watch these. I'm going to like them. I'm going to reshare them. And we're all going to have fun with it. Guys, great show. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on. I learned a lot on this. I've got to get back into dry firing. It's kind of one of those things that I let go to the wayside. But after doing this with you guys, I'm amped up and ready to start my training again.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been fun, and hopefully we can all learn some stuff about guns together.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Adam, thank you for getting Nils on. Had a great time. It was great meeting him. And the AK Corner, Adam.
Man, it's been so awesome just watching it really develop into what it has. I know this is season 2, and we were big fans of it at Century even when we weren't, the title sponsor. So the fact that we've been able to hear and, like you said, learning from peers in the industry, learning from lead heads, learning from you, is just really something that makes it special. And we're excited to see it continue. And, man, it's just, I think times like this just prove more and more how important it is to not only own firearms, but to understand the mechanics and understand the processes in terms of truly bettering yourself and using them to the utmost potential. So it's things like Talking Lead that really, I think, are so important in order to
essential, baby.
Enable people with that knowledge.
Essential.
Knowledge, man.
We are an essential service, and we're not shutting down. We are open for business. And we are open for business because of companies like Century Arms. So go show them some love. Let them know that the Lead Head Brigade is behind them. Go to their social medias. Go to their website. Go to your local gun store if you're able to. And go purchase a CANIK, a Century Arms, Red Army Standard ammo, U.S. Palm magazines. They're doing it all. Keltec, KeltecWeapons.com. I mentioned earlier, we're going to continue that contest. We're going to get it going. We've got everything in place other than the personnel to kick it off. So once Mission First gets back in action, then we're going to launch that. It's going to be one of those Gleam contests where you're going to go and like, and the more likes you do on the pages, the more entries you get. And it's going to be one of those random winners for that package. KeltecWeapons.com. Go show them some love. Fiocchi Ammo, newest sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast. Go show them some love, too. There's been some rumors that they had shut down their commercial side of things and only doing the military, which is not true. It's not a fact. I talked with Casey today, and Fiocchi is open for business and doing a lot of business. They're like everybody else. They're just trying to catch up with all the demand. Demand is huge right now. I think we mentioned earlier, that gun sales were up. Alyssa Milano told us, they're 2 million in March alone. So if they buy the guns, they got to buy the ammo too. So they're just trying to catch up. They're out there, but go show them some love. Let them know that you're behind them as the Lead Head Brigade. at Fiocchi Ammo USA. And then, of course, Modern Spartan Systems. All these new gun owners, you're going to want to clean your firearms. The best product out there on the market right now is from Modern Spartan Systems. Don't just clean your firearms, optimize them with Modern Spartan Systems line of cleaning products and lubricants and their TVT engine oil additive. They even make a product for your vehicles or anything with an engine. You put that TVT engine oil additive in there, and it's going to extend and protect the life of those engines. Who am I forgetting? 1776 United. You want to get the Talking Lead swag. We're talking about patches earlier, T-shirts. You go to 1776united.com and get your official Talking Lead T-shirts and patches. And then you go to Dipstick Hydrographics, and you can get one of these beautiful Talking Leadies, Adam and Nils, to put your beverage of choice in during these quarantine times. And it's going to keep it COVID-free, COVID-19 free. We're talking Leady. Mission First Tactical. You guys are in need of a holster. You're in need of some AR furniture. Go to Mission First Tactical, and they're going to take care of you there. They're even making some cool dump trays, tactical dump trays, and tactical wallets. There's some custom Talking Lead dump trays and wallets there also. So if you want to get logoed out with the Lead Head Brigade, you can go to their website. They've got those there. But show them some love. This is the perfect time to do that build that you've always wanted to do. You've been sitting around and hadn't had time to do your AR build, your 1911 build, whatever that may be. Start building those things, man. Now's the time. I know all the gun stores are, online gun stores are still open for business. They're probably out of some things, but prices are still good on a lot of that. So check them out. Mission First Tactical. All right, Leadheads, until the next episode, as always, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer.
And tune in to CANIK USA and check out quick tips in quarantine. Have fun, stay safe, be superior.
Even closer than your toilet paper or your chicken.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So find the chicken.